wonder what the earth looks like from Jupiter's eyes, where every little worthless fight is superficial in size. The universe is ancient light and eternally wise. We're traveling on a satellite that temporarily flies, and we've vandalized. Tinkering with everything we find, but are we learning to be kind? Underneath the restless street, a woman riding the train offers up her precious seed to a man with a cane. And standing on her aching feet, still she doesn't complain. A smile when their gazes meet helps to ease the pain. Might seem mundane. Simple deeds are all we need to mend, and all that matters in the end is how will you spend your few trips round the all the trends. What's new is only pretend, and even a speck of dust is old as it ever was. With every new improvement, it's getting harder to gauge how to find a true friend in the digital age. Another evolution, another turn of the page. Discover that you're human when you're out of range. Little one, you've only just begun now to imagine. Sit and let me read to you a while. Floating past the moon in a gas-powered balloon. Don't focus on the future, let the mystery unfold.
Hey, It's Poetry Electric time. That's right. Hey, back in the house with you, with La Mama. Yeah, that's right. La Mama. We've been here for a while doing our thing. And so happy to have you on board with us tonight. Yeah. Big shout out. Ellen Stewart, of course, our founder. We're going to be here for 60 years in September. A big shout out to our artistic director, Mia Yu. That's right. And the fabulous La Mama staff who they continue to bring you some online fabulous experiences with our resident artists. We got Cafe La Mama, we got the Coffee House, La Mama Kids, International Women's Festival coming up. Yeah, so please stick with us. And I am so happy to be here. Thanks to all of you out there and to Axe Hoyton Foundation who keeps supporting us. So really beautiful to have you here tonight for like this collaboration. Like, what is it? It's like tap, it's like poetry, it's music, it's like what is this thing? Yeah, well, we're getting ready to find out. I'm going to turn you over to those collaborators tonight that are really going to be kicking it with you. We've got Alex coming through here. We've got Daniel. Yeah, we got Steve. And of course, a shout out to Asha. All these folks are in the house, and I'm going to kick it over to them so they can give you the whole flow for tonight. Poetry Electric, William Electric Black in the house.
Wow, welcome. Thank you everyone for being here. And thank you to La Mama Experimental Theater Club and to William Electric Black for inviting us back to the Poetry Electric series, the virtual edition. We're thrilled to share this work with you tonight. This is an ongoing artistic collaboration, and the show you see tonight is going to be a mix of live performances and pre-recorded segments where we get to blend all of what we do together. Tonight we'll feature Daniel Carlton on spoken word, Stephen Shinji Whipple on bass, myself and Asha Griffith on tap. Asha can't be here live tonight, but you are going to feel her energy and contributions throughout the show. So I'm going to turn it over to Daniel and then to Stephen, and then we'll get things going.
So I'll be quick. Riffing. So we're going to riff, man. We've been riffing. Alex and I were trying to figure out in this collaboration, what are we going to talk about? What is our title going to be? What is it going to be all about? And we said, well, what if we just riff, right? And riffing became the title, so I looked at the dictionary definition, play musical riffs. We got that. It also described performing a monologue or spoken improvisation on a particular subject. Example, he riffs on racism and the economy. 1930s origin, a refrain. So dig it and see how we riff with you. And as you listen to us riff, do some of your own riffing too.
And Stephen, if you want to say a couple words about your music.
Sure. So my contribution to this evening was something that I recorded from August to October of last year during the craziness that we're still in. And actually following the theme of riffing, I kind of feel like it was just me. I recorded everything at home by myself. So it's just myself playing the upright bass many, many times over and creating these textures. And really, it kind of came from just riffing with that technology to see what happens in the state of mind that I was in during a global pandemic. So I kind of feel like this might not exactly tie in with the theme, but the idea that art can capture a moment and the emotion of the moment in a way that words can't. I think books will be written about 2020, but capturing what it felt to live in 2020 is another thing. And I think that, hopefully that's what I was able to accomplish with that. So I hope you enjoy it.
Absolutely. Okay, everyone, please enjoy the show.
Does it make you want to try, sigh, or electrify? Fly, die, get high, hip hop. that's why. And just hope is dope. Look for the soul. Or try to find the meaning of isotope. Does it make you wanna? Grin without chagrin and the absence of sin. Doubt, pout, or ring shout. Does it make you want to know it? See, got a poet in it. But just believe in the flow with it. Pay some dues in your old brown shoes as you figure out what mood to choose. Does it make you wanna? Does it make you wanna? Pray, stay, find a way. Roam or recognize home in your tone poem. I'm just riffing, man. Just riffing, man. Just riffing through the week. A poem, a song, a prayer, a promise, a Sunday, a raindrop, an umbrella, a fresh point of view, an ignored alarm, a yawn, a Monday, a deep breath, twice, a second cup of coffee, a text and email response, a zoom, couple of dreams, a duality of north and south, Tuesday, a third eye slowly opening, a look backwards, forward, straight ahead, a battalion of 3 blind mice leading the charge. A Wednesday, a fifth of funk, ready to be consumed. 4 acts of mental foreplay, 4th down, 4th in inches. For Thursday, 4 fits, formless throwbacks, fortune awaits. 5 golden rings of fire finally jumped through. A shout out to the 9-to-5ers making it through without choking their bosses, making it through the room, through Zoom, a quintet in my head all singing the same tune. A Friday. A sun salutation. relief. A sailboat in my dreams. A soul serenade, a slip of the tongue, a sweet tooth indulge a Saturday. Arms open to catch Sunday, cradle it like a newborn baby. 7 revolutions. 7 heartbeats. 7 chances. I'm just riffing, man.
My unmasked shadow begs me to sit under a tree to see what it sees. My masked face is too distracted to be breathing without questions about liberty, safety, priority, honesty. My unmasked shadow questions invisibility, invincibility, civility, vulnerability. My masked self breathes blowback on me and my unmasked shadow simultaneously, forcefully, gently, intentionally. I'm just riffing, man.
Riffing. Alex's refrain. Riffing. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Dr. King. The first step, my son, which one makes in the world is the one on which depends the rest of our days. Philosopher Voltaire. To destroy is always the first step in any creation. American poet E.D. Cummings. Google. Dreams about stairs relate to progress in moving forward or backwards in some area of your waking life. These dreams can represent feelings of fear, falling, failure, success, or challenge. If you are just standing still in the stairs in your dream, you may be struggling to know which way to proceed in any situation. Alex, a free frame. I'm just riffing, man. Like, memories of self can be such powerful things. Skittles and Ninja Turtle t-shirts and grandma's voice behind the camera. Playing with family, riffing, man. One day ended up a VHS and maybe on YouTube 25, 30 years later. And if I was Alex and stood at the bottom of steps, alone with memories of self, which can be the most elusive and powerful of visions as we revisit, rewind time, walk through, I'd probably let the rhythm of my feet determine the spaces between introspection and reflection. See, it's easy for me to say, because I start with words as a clay. I pace back and forth looking for tone. His ascension may start
with his own metronome. I'd probably stop before getting through even one of those measures. Looking for words is the beginning of the treasure. Sliding down the never-ending tunnel through miles of symbolism, while he's already climbed to step ahead of his thoughts, gliding upwards toward the alchemism of the beat as his antidote or affirmation to the push and pull of mysticism, reformation, ancestors now, and ancestors, I have you tapping the floor and slapping your way through the beats and the rhymes, trying to take it upwards and upwards and upwards all the way until you've tapped your way to a star.
These closed captions are doing their own riffing too. Tonight, I sleepless and riffing. Like lost birds riffing, wind-blown leaves, leftovers from the fall, keep hitting against my closed yet open curtain windows. A last gasp for those beautiful, delicate, colorful, and impermanent things. The branches sway and shake them loose. I watch them soar toward the ground, on their way to what appears to be a magnificent death. I'm closing the curtain now. Who am I to judge why they held on for so long? Now, thuds against the panes, harder sounds. Now, the skinny, stripped down wood demands an audience too. Now, tapping with aggression, traveling, unraveling, tapping. The rhythm seemingly randomly switches between precise and staccato. Do those branches knock once for atonement, twice for resolution, 3 times with fury? Nothing will be the same in the morning as new light plays and reveals the sky's blues and grounded hues. Now, talking storms ain't like walking sun. Mercy, mercy, we. Dubiously merciful is warm air that tempers cold rain. Like final kisses before a breakup, or white tears mixed with her running makeup, or a tea bag reheated up inside a cracked and leaking cup. It don't fall up, but mercy, mercy, we nevertheless see the touch of wind, pre-rain, rustling of leaves at the top of the trees, ascend a pre-refrain, the exit of the birds in appropriate words, time bends, cloud sends the aroma first. The soil opens up to quench its thirst. Rolling tides double up with the thunder, and no matter where it finally falls, every drop has a soul that it calls. And we watch with wonder. Now is raining. Now the sweet smell of rain is a reminder of joy, and pain is an endless refrain, is a pre-flood that cannot be tamed, is like a flower's wet dreams, is water in the seams, is the rinsing of sunbeams, is the washing away of things without names, is refrain from refrains, is the soundtrack of going insane. Soaking the schisms is a waterlogged prism, a prelude to baptism. Is remembrance, is forgetfulness, is intensity, is loneliness, is personal, is impatient feet running across rooftops, is insistent fingers tapping on window panes, is rhythm on discarded drums disguised as trash can lids, is tears outracing weeping eyes down masked faces, is the facilitator of a momentary chance to dream of starring in a black and white movie, is a return in time to the scheme of the rhyme, the resolution of a cloud's revolution, the dream bursting through the shroud. The heart of the story is in the cloud. That's riffing, man. Pandemic May 2020, clouded vision. I'm really trying to write a poem, but this shit is so real. I'm really trying to write a poem, but this shit is so real. The returning birds still sing, but right and left of each wing, the sirens are getting louder. The televisions are in a constant new news. Who knew new normal? This too shall pass cycle. And I can't take it, but I don't want to be left out of the loop. This ain't always going to rhyme. Struggling to keep my thoughts in rhythm this time. Someone is weeping. So many are posting. Somebody's boasting, trying to save some vestiges of work with these meetings from our zoomed in, zoom, living rooms that we are hosting. And the president keeps boasting. I won't turn away, but so many on my timeline say RIP today. I won't turn away. They deserve a final C. People are cheering frontline workers. I'll play my drums for them at 7 p.m. until my fingers bleed. Yes, song appreciation and cheers are part of what we need, which is so beautiful and fine, but I just can't shake my fury that Amazon is protecting its bottom line while treating warehouse workers at the bottom of its safety line, feeling like a hypocrite at the grocery store. My food needs or the cashier's health needs more. I wish that they could stay at home too. Then too, I'm buying groceries while I can. This stuff is an economic tsunami, man. Hospitals have long run out of stretchers and beds. The leader of our country pats himself on the back for the no one has done a better job than me, ego rhetoric, while treating the press disrespectfully for asking them questions as if they are the biggest headache. In my neighborhood park, some folks are treating this as an extended spring break vacation, ignoring the fact that we're in the heart of this national pandemic. Tent set up in our favorite Central Park, Stark burial grounds in the to determine city park. I'm really trying not to be dark. Black life clearly didn't matter. The proof is in how many of us are dying. It has been systematic. Oh, but tigers are still getting tested. We are not invincible. So why do we get turned away? Like our pain is something that we should quarantine away. We matter, but keep ending up as a final stat. See, I'm really trying to go back to the rhyme. I do take solace in the budding flowers of spring, the songs that we hear of the morning birds when they sing. Every day with those of us who can, I will find a way to both mourn and gratitude dance. Hope is still dope, but we are up against a hell of a rope. More prayers are flying through the atmosphere. Maybe they help to counteract real fear. This just ain't forget everything and run. We are all 6 degrees separate from a lost loved one. Okay, I'm digressing again. This will have an end. Dear universe, help. I'm pressing send. And now it's fall. And we are still here, y'all. The virus has now been acknowledged across the nation. The train is across, it has left the track, crashing into every station. And even from ourselves, no vacation. Zoom is now your normal room. And the president long ago went kaboom. Even though he now wears a mask on his face, he's actually accomplished his goal of dividing the whole human race. And now in a presidential race, not even trying to save face in any space, news says he has COVID too. You know, that racist name that he calls the flu, but not the same as me or you. See, behind every closed door is an immigrant doctor probably trying to save his life. Publicly, though, the same old publicity and strife. Oh, time to vote for candidates who denigrate each other on the debate stage, smoke screens of rage as sage. Well, that could be my cynicism pushing through. 24 hours of staring at a screen will do that to you. Birthday comes up, still glad to still be alive. I'll give myself and my partner a high five. Then everything changed. Vibrations rearranged. I heard the cheers before I heard the news. Ding dong, the wicked tyrant was about to lose. Outside my window, a neighborhood ring shout. They got that mother out. But hold on, wait a minute. He won't admit defeat, crying fraud, I'm still in it. Damn, this ain't Florida or good times. Just more discordance without reason to rhyme. Gonna stop riffing here. 2 months left in the year. Can't lose my heart to fear. Wait, please. I want us all to unmute. We are the chords on the parachute. Unzooming the zoom. Please pick a word that helps us to reach through the screen to each other's living rooms. Resume, bloom, perfume, commune, fuck doom. I'm just riffing, man.
beat. If one could have a view into the soul of a very young heart and were allowed to see the things that helped it to jumpstart, delicately though, so as not to tear it apart, and then divide what the soul sees carefully into sections of 3. What are some of the things that we would see? Would love, respect, and honor make up the Trinity? Beat, beat, beat. Of course, its steady beat has to be heard, melody and rhythm meeting harmony, undisturbed, pounding, or resting, depending on nerves, because those parts are needed everywhere. What gets split between family, teachers, and peers? Beat, beat, beat. A child's healthy heart is full of laughter and song. Ideas keep it pumping all day long, even when it seems like it prefers solitude. Imagine universes exist full of longitude, latitude, and attitude. Beat, beat, beat. Play. 1. Pirates fought off with rubber bands held in the smallest of hands. 2. Tea served for a queen or 2. Bottomless cups for the royal to do. 3. Jump rope spinning faster than the speed of light. Double touching sneakers that always stay white. Beat, beat, beat. But of course, a kid's day isn't all just play. There are 3 parts in the journey. From sunup until the time when slumber gives away. 1. Morning. Wake up to every day as an adventure, poem, or prayer. New possibilities exist even when there is fear. 2. Noon. Not only is it time to eat, it's figuring out if the day feels sour or sweet. 3. Dinner. Wrapping up the night with one final meal and trying to stay away from the Sandman's last deal. But alas, the heart has moon dreams to fulfill. So the eyelids suddenly have a heavier feel. No matter how much one tries to keep them open through sheer will. Beat, beat, beat. Unfortunately, it's harder to see a heart broken into parts of 3. 1. It might take more than a while to see the tears behind the smile. 2. Or to know that a lack of love flow is stunting its ability to grow. 3. Cracks created by lies covered up by alibi. One has to look a little harder to measure the full extent of the plundered treasure. Beat, beat, beat. So, who are the 3 keepers of a young heart's stability? 1 is the person with whom they can read the photosynthesis of knowledge as the seed. 2, another is the provider of hugs, even when it's covered with cobwebs and bugs. 3, could the 3rd be the keeper of time, keeping count of the balance between reason and rhyme? Beat, beat, beat. the conclusion of our view into its marvelous ride on the inside reminds us all that heart will be used for as long as one is alive. One, while childhood goes through its very short ride. Two, during long journeys that one is told to put those childish things aside. Three, at the end of the journey, when there is nothing left to hide. Beat. Take a look inside your own heart. Beat, beat. Remember the things that helped it to jumpstart. Beat, 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 beat. Just riffing that.
Hey, whoa. What an evening. What a collaboration. Tap poetry. We had music. We had feet doing their thing, words flying around. I mean, I just loved it. I really appreciate all the artists. I'm going to bring them out. Where's Alex? Come on out. Where's Daniel? Where's Steve? And Asha's not here, but we're going to shout out to her. What, I really just want to know, like, how did you think about it first and then put the tap in and then put the riffing words of Daniel over top of that, or in some, did you listen to Steve's music first? And like, how did it work? How did you go about it?
It depended on the piece pretty much. Some of these pieces started with a poem. Daniel's poetry is so full of sound imagery, like sounds of nature juxtaposed with sounds of the city, and now all of the internal sounds of our hearts and our homes. So that, for me, there's so much to play with there as a tap dancer. And then some of the pieces started from, we wanted to interpret the music that Steve was bringing to the table. And sometimes I threw Daniel some dance and said, "Can you write something?" like last night.
Yeah, exactly. I was wondering, did sometimes, Daniel, you just saw the tap work, the footwork, and then that inspired you, and then you kind of worked with it or went with it, something like
Yes.
that?
So Alex sent me, for example, a home movie when he was about, what were you, like 6?
It's like 4 or 5.
4. And so, and then he showed me a video of him doing the tap up the steps, but he also sent me a video of him as a kid on those same steps. So that's where something like that came from. Or listening to Steve and his tune clocks. I was like, oh, I'm gonna write about the week, So I was like trying to riff on the week, and then I heard it, and it sort of developed it into like, oh, okay, just let the music like be a conversation, Yeah.
Steve, some of those pieces, man, they moved me. They were like so dramatic. I could feel something. I could almost set it to some characters, within it. Where did some of that come from as you were, working on these pieces?
To be honest, I think I wasn't really thinking about them in terms of character, but I think it was sort of like who I was when I was writing it, if that makes sense, and that's what's coming through. Maybe, yeah.
Did you record, it sounded like they were layered, right?
Yes.
So you did that, in your studio, you kind of did those pieces like that?
Yeah, I did it in the room I'm in right now, actually. And I recorded one part, and then I sort of like, depending on the piece, I did different things, but I would set myself a rule and say I would play this note and let myself do this one embellishment, and then just layered like that, many, many voices. Like the first one you heard that's how I did that one. So
how did this online world, it was definitely, very so pronounced in the piece, Daniel, you were going through it about we're in this world and Zoom and the healthcare and cheering and your drumming. So how did this, as you looked at the piece, or even what you're doing beyond tonight's Poetry Electric, how does this environment affect you in terms of what you're trying to do? I know everybody's still out there trying to do some of their work. Any takes on it?
Is that Daniel?
Or just in general, all of you, how are you, Steve's recording at home. Maybe he would normally be out in a studio with other people, so, what's the impact?
Yeah. I've been in a particular situation where I've spent a lot of the last year cleaning out my grandparents' old house, which is where all of my dancing was filmed. So I've been excavating like artifacts and memories and journals and, like he mentioned, old VHS tapes. And so a lot of that was just very present for me as I was dancing, as I was physically in the space and thinking about just people that are dear to me. Mm-hmm. And then the way that, like, say with Steve's piece of music, Prayer, there's so much that's emotionally evocative in that piece, and there's so much space, and so it kind of gave me just like it was a deep musical glue to kind of, you know, explore and sit with the memories and with the music, and that's what's been going on for me.
Nice. How was it videotaping? You know, you all had your different styles where the camera was. You know, sometimes it was on your feet. You know, for the tap. Or Steve, you had these layers. Sometimes, you know, we would see the layers. And then Daniel, you got up a little bit. Playing it. You know, working the camera. So did those things kind of happen, or did you map it out first and say, okay, here's what I'm going to do, or you kind of let it happen? You know, as you were in the piece, you got an idea for, using the camera, because we're in this world, we have to kind of use the camera.
So I'll answer that two ways. To go back to your first question, I've decided that the only way that I can survive and thrive in this world that we are in right now is to embrace everything that we can and try to unzoom it in every way we can. So, and part of that is to avoid too much sitting. Because once you sit, like the energy becomes like, you're watching yourself up like you watch yourself watch TV, and, and so I've been working a lot in other areas where I have created sort of a vocabulary to move through like cameras and to come up with a physical vocabulary and green screens and stuff. But with this, it's almost like you're going back to the basic of like, how do you communicate an idea and you can't be in the same room? Like what really hurts in this and helps, I guess, is that this is a jam session, really, what we're doing. And so we're just passing thoughts and saying, okay, so Alex, I just got this thing. And he says, oh, I'm going to tap this now. Or so it's really been exchanged. And then with Steve, who, to give a plug, has just completed this amazing EP, LP,
EP.
What do you call it now?
EP.
EP and Zoom. See, we don't even have like terms anymore. We're already heading that direction now. So I think the answer to that question, Electric, is like just to embrace it and to like figure out how to make it as least static as you can possibly make it. Even if standing up changes the whole framing of everything, at least you're in your your name's Electric, so I know it's like that. If you don't move that energy will sit in you and start having another set of conversations with you. And that other set of conversations can really be a drag.
Do you, I'm sure we'll wrap up in a little bit, Pierce, but, again, I want to thank you all, for coming and doing your thing again at Poetry Electric. It's a little different, right? Doing that live thing. And, shout out to La Mama again and the La Mama staff, and then Pierce, rocking it and keeping it flowing tonight. Will you take away any things from what this experience, even when we go back to live, right? We're going to get out of this. Do you feel like, well, yeah, maybe there's something I'm going to still use in this platform? Maybe I am going to still do projects this way, or teach this way, or catch up to other people this way to riff. Somebody's in another state, another country. Do you feel you might incorporate some of this in your future, endeavors, as artists?
I think that is one of the beautiful parts about this is suddenly we're not bound by geography. So, we all have friends and colleagues that we've worked with who live all over the country, all over the world. But it's like we only get to work with them when we happen to be in the same space. And now, that could be anywhere. So that there is, there is an opportunity there that I hope does continue to thrive.
For the first time in my life, I've been working with the entire world at the same time. It's like, for example, I teach a class and 75% of my students are in different time zones or different countries, and it's like this breaking through the wall. We'll never be able to do this again unless we incorporate it, like these borders. These are borders now, these damn squares, these are like the only borders we're really dealing with. Now, once they work out sound, right, Steve?
Yeah, sound definitely is an issue, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's they are working on some platforms where you can do, but it actually is interesting. It's still bound by geography, in that you have to be close enough for the signal to travel at a fast enough speed. So, yeah. So it's not really that practical yet. And just to answer that question, actually, what's most interesting to me was I started playing music outdoors a lot more. Like when I first moved to the city, I was busking, and now I play, well, now I don't because it's cold, but when it was warm enough. And in a funny way, my musical experience became more hyper local, if that makes sense. Like I only play with people where we can walk to each other's spaces, and then we'll meet at the park and play. And there's some great musicians that live in my, like world-class guys that live in my neighborhood. And that's kind of been a blessing in a whole different way, where instead of the world getting bigger, it got smaller and closer, in that respect. So to me, that was kind of a cool thing that I've learned, and I'll probably keep doing, just playing outdoors because people seem to like it.
Yeah. Well, look at a lot of those outdoor, like, restaurant setups now. Aren't they? They're supposed to stay. My understanding is, right, they're going to keep those, here in the city. Do you know about those outdoor, like, eating? I heard they're going to, like, they're going to be permanent. So,
cool.
I've lost that little piece of like street I had. It's just we lost that too.
Right. The restaurant is on one side, the bike rack, now the city bike is on the other. So it's like
now we need more.
Bike lane. So it's like
listen, man, sometimes
that's interesting. But what Steve said, I think, is true. It has pushed us like out into the street, into each other in a little different way,
Yeah, and even like when you're local and not local, like for example, Alex and I have this ongoing project that for a few years ago we've been trying to get together, and then he'll go on tour, I'll go on tour, and it's like we have these 8-month gaps between the next time we talk about it. And now, like with this technology, which I would never have used before, now even when things like change, we still have the ability to be able to do this, and the chat and the thing, and wherever you are, you can still collaborate.
Oh, it's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
Steve, for your EP, were you able to do it before pre-COVID? Did you do it then? Or did you record during this whole time?
It was during this whole time. So the funny thing too, I guess a good thing, I guess, that came out of this was I recorded my own music for the first time because I was busy playing other people's music, because that's what we do as bass players. Right. But yeah, I actually had the time to think, okay, what am I hearing in my head right now? And let me see if I can, record it. So that's what I
think it's so true. Getting more time. Do you feel that way, Alex or Daniel? You had time now to kind of reflect or work or, yeah.
Yeah. Or like, catastrophize all that free time. But no, it's true. There's definitely, there's something very, amorphous about my schedule these days. My schedule was already all over the place as a tap dancer, but now it's really it's kind of a fun puzzle to figure out, and but it's hard. I will say it's hard to find the creative juices sometimes when you're not getting as much input, and in terms of human interaction and all of that. So I've just been reading more novels lately. That seems to help.
I have no time. And the reason I don't have any time is because I, like from what I said earlier about embracing this thing. So I'm really looking for all the ways. And then what happens is like you end up doing, it takes a lot of work to make these things work. So, between the teaching or the directing or the whatever. But I'll give you an example. I had a play that was supposed to go up, and because it had to go digital, I just hate these squares. I hate them. And so what my partner and I ended up doing was sending green screens to people, mics, the script, actors and designers in 6 different states who've never met, and then directing all that and then doing the edit, you know. So it's like, in some ways, what could happen in a week in a room is like 3 or 4 months worth of, staring at them and figuring out sound and going, oh shit, we don't even have that take. Like somebody's mic went out, you didn't even know because you're OBS or Zoom or you can't hear it right. It's just, time is a very relative thing in a pandemic, isn't it? And then you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning because you got pandemic thoughts, and now you're watching some series on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, right? They're doing all right. Amazon and Hulu and Netflix, they're like.
I wish your audience, we could see them and say, raise your hand if you bought like a pair of shoes you didn't need like in the last 2 weeks. At 3 o'clock in the morning, like, oh man, they're only $30. You ain't even got nowhere to go,
So on the last note, so is everybody looking forward to getting back out there, touring or colliding with people? Are you thinking about that? Yeah, right. I think everybody is in that zone, whether an artist or not, just getting back outside and doing things. I know that they're doing these sort of pop-up things. Have you heard about this? These outdoor people are performing outdoors more and more. I've seen a lot of ads for this, or New York State or the city. They're pushing for all these outdoor performances. So I don't know, have any of you heard about those or thinking about that? Or?
I saw it in the news that they or something that where they're talking about the city was trying to push that, but like to be honest, like there's so many artists in the city who I think they had like 40 slots or something, and like there are thousands of people
like that.
So but what I would say is that there are more artists just doing their craft outdoors anyway, regardless of if there's support from the city, for what they're specifically what they're doing or not. Like, I'm out once or twice a week if it's nice playing for people. And I mean, I'm not getting any city money from it, but I'm still doing it. So I think there's going to be a lot more of that in the spring and the summer, and that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, when the weather breaks, I definitely think that they'll, everybody will be coming out, like you're saying, doing their thing, and hopefully we'll just keep going more and more. Or some of you are teaching. It'd be great. I teach to get back in a classroom in front of students. Right now it's a little tricky. Is anybody doing? Alex, you said you do it in person, right?
I am teaching. Yeah, I'm teaching at Montclair State in New Jersey, and we have half the students are in the room and half are up on a scrim in Zoom. So it's a little bit dizzying sometimes, but knock on wood, this is did it same thing last semester. Everyone's okay. I've been okay. I actually just got my first, because I think you had the same eligibility because you teach at NYU, so college professor. So my arm is still killing me from that Pfizer I got yesterday, but it's worth it. So
cool. Well, thanks, Pierce. We're good. We're going to wrap up in a minute. I want to thank everybody again. The one.
And thank you, Pierce.
Thank you, Pierce.
Yeah, thank you.
La Mama, fabulous staff, artistic director Mia Yu, holding down the fort. And again, La Mama doing some great things. I hope everybody out there is, kind of paying attention to La Mama, lamama.org, and, really checking out, what they've been doing. And other venues, folks are out there, like they were saying, whether it's street artists out there, support the artists, trying to do their thing, staying in touch with their art and, and making people, experience something, feel something, beyond the screen, as Daniel was saying, how can we get past these little boxes that, we're sort of boxed in. Aha. And I appreciate you, this collaboration, bringing it and really, really trying to take us somewhere else beyond these boxes with what you do. And I thought I was very moved by it. And, the different moment. I mean, I think you had at least like 13 different segments or so that you really wove together. And I hope that you'll come back to do some more Poetry Electric. Yeah, you know, get your cats back. You know, maybe we'll be live or
Right.
live and streaming. You know, maybe it's a combo. You know,
Taking up somebody's sidewalk.
Yeah, right.
We'll be on the sidewalk.
Right.
Really nice. Get out there with Steve. Steve, bring your bass.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, hit us up.
Anytime.
In the park.
Literally, yeah.
We'll give you our info in the chat.
Okay. All right.
Poetry Electric in the park. That could be, There you go. That could be nice. Yeah, I don't know what the rules are. Sometimes they don't want too many people to gather, but I guess have to deal with that when it happens, right?
Yeah.
And that's about it. So Pierce, are you with us? What's happening? How we doing? So I think we're gonna wrap it up in a minute here. And thank you again out there, folks, for being part of Poetry Electric and being part of the La Mama series. 60-year anniversary. I just want to bring that up. Like La Mama in the fall, 60 years. Unbelievable. So look and stay tuned for the big 60-year events that will be happening. And hope to have you all back, for 60-year, Poetry Electric as part of the big celebration. I hope you got your thinking caps on already, for what you can do coming back to Poetry Electric. And it's great to have you back, really. That everybody's well and hanging, and we're able to kind of figure out, some way to collaborate. I really appreciate it, what you did and the time and energy. I know it's not easy,
Well, appreciate you having us.
Thanks again. All right, Pierce, I think we're going to wrap it up.